What's up, everybody? It is Zach, the Dark Conservatarian, and before I get started, I thought I'd just let you all know that by popular request of some of you, I have gotten started on that response video to the Cuties Defender. Here's a screen cap to show you. Now, as some of y'all might know, for the last few years, and for all my life, in fact, I have been wanting to write, draw, and post comics, a sci-fi comic to be exact. And so here's some concept art of that said project for you guys to see as I go talking about these, what I guess I can call like philosophical musings about communism versus capitalism. And as I go talking about this subject that has been kind of brewing in my mind for the last few months. Now, some of y'all might know of how that I have had conversations with anarcho-communists and about their beliefs. I've in fact been friendly with a couple, or I don't know how many anarcho-communists for a few years, probably in the span of like 2019, maybe going as far back as 2018 through 2021, I think. I've grown kind of estranged to ANCOMs as a whole ever since 2021, since the more and more I think about it, they just basically, they aren't very voluntary at all. When you get down to the nub of it, for the most part at least, I guess it's possible that there are some truly peaceful and voluntary communists out there who just want to set up their own commune because that's the kind of lifestyle that they prefer. But regardless, when you get down to the nub of it with a good chunk of them, they just ultimately, they will resort to violence to steal your business. That is, if you aren't going to give the means of production, quote unquote, back to your workers. But they go telling me about their beliefs in plenty of interviews that I've had, one of them in particular, talking about of how that if we achieve anarcho-communism, that we wouldn't have to do these essential jobs that are kind of dirty and that we don't really want to do at all. Right? Like, one of the things that a lot of us capitalists will say in response to communists, and socialists too for that matter, is that if you start giving everybody their bare minimum life essentials, or even a few luxuries to add on top of that perhaps, that they'll just be demotivated from ever wanting to work. Especially from those very dirty and tedious, laborious jobs that really nobody wants to do except for the fact that it pays, or even pays well for that matter, like a sewage maintenance guy, for example. But the response that I will hear normally from ANCOMs is that if we get automation, that nobody actually will have to do these very tedious and dirty and just undesirable, laborious jobs. And that in some cases, with some jobs that are essential, people will just have a driving passion to pursue those jobs. Like with welding, for example. There are those of us, I'm a staple example that I like welding. Some people will pursue woodworking and architecture. Some people might pursue, I don't know, they might actually want to be a doctor and heal people for a living. Well, not for a living because they're not being paid, but just because that it makes them feel good or something or other. And for everyone else who doesn't really want to work, maybe they'll just pursue their hobbies. They'll become an artist, or they'll become a writer, they'll become an actor or actress or something like that, without any pressure of, oh, I have to do this because we live in a capitalist society. I gotta earn a buck in order to live and so forth. Everybody will just have all the time in the world to pursue whatever that their passions or hobbies are. It's kind of like the one meme that I saw not too long ago on Facebook, talking about how we're pursuing AI in the wrong kind of way. We're making AI so that we can like have it write and do art. Draw art and write books and so forth. AI writes stories and draws art while I just do laundry and do dishes. Whereas AI should actually be developed to do the dishes and do the laundry for me while I go draw art and write stories. Now, ignoring the subject of whether or not that AI will actually do every single undesirable job for us, that being from janitor work all the way to cashier jobs. We're just going to pretend for right now that AI is doing every single undesirable job that we really don't want to do. Everybody has all the time in the world to do whatever they want, and they will pursue their own hobbies, right? I really don't think that this is true. I really don't. At least not for a good chunk of the time, anyways. I think that okay, maybe it won't quite be like a supermajority or even a slight majority of people who will just become completely unproductive, but I think that it would definitely rise within society if we just got this utopian version of automated anarcho-communism. And the reason why I say that is because of my own personal story. So I've honestly become kind of off and on with whether or not that I feel the fire within me to continue on with my hobbies. That being whether it being like video editing or especially comic writing, which is the main subject I'm going to stick with for right now. I've been consistently, or at least trying to consistently anyways, do comic writing for the last 2 years, 3-ish years, even throughout the entirety of my hiatus. That was going from 2022 through most of 2023. And kind of mitigating for whatever personal drama or anything else like that might be kind of weighing down on me to where that I don't really want to do it. Putting that aside, there was a time actually in my fairly recent life of where that I had very little to no personal drama that was at least active anyways, and I had absolutely no need to work. I was covered as far as expenses go and everything during a chunk of my hiatus, and I kept on hitting like a bit of a mental block as far as my comic writing goes. See, I don't really think that if everybody was given all this free time, that they would just be motivated, self-motivated to go on a daily strict routine or even a semi-strict routine. That everybody will just like devote themselves to for a little bit to the gym, or I don't know, feeding birds or whatever, that other kind of self-improvement kind of stuff, whatever that you have in mind for self-improvement or whatever, and then cook meals, clean up around the house, or do anything else to improve decoration around the house, and also like do your hobbies. With today's age of technology and us having like cell phones and all this other mass types of electronic media and entertainment, I think that for a good chunk of the time, and it was for me at least anyways, people will procrastinate just consistently scrolling through social media, watching and binging whatever worthless or meaningless cartoons or Marvel series or whatever bit of Hollywood slop might be produced out there. On this point, I'm kind of reminded of a Facebook reel that I seen rather recently that kind of illustrates what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to play the rest of that because it's kind of depressing and a little bit long. You can go check out Hub's life on Instagram and Facebook if you want to see the rest of it. I mean, it definitely was the case for me. I would end up procrastinating just consistently, thinking to myself, oh, I got plenty of time in the day. I got a few more hours to kill, or I got a few more minutes to kill. I'm just going to keep on looking through social media here. Then a few minutes turns into a few hours, and before I know it, it's like late in the morning, or I just burned too much time in general before I actually get it going on anything. I like then get to the gym or something else like that, but then finally later when I actually like sit down to do my comics, I haven't left myself open up enough time to do that sort of stuff. I would also on top of that suffer a bit of a mental block of where that I find myself unable to decide on how that I want a certain panel to look as far as the shape goes, what angle that I want it to look at the characters in the panel, what bit of dialogue that I want to next be said within the story or anything else like that. I would just be at a bit of a frozen standstill unable to just get it out. Like, I would have ideas, but I don't know how to execute those ideas because of that mental block. And I really think that this is in part because of the fact that I did not have a more regimented routine. Like, yeah, some people, they might actually have all the self-discipline in the world to keep themselves on a daily routine of where that they do 30 minutes of jogging, do 45 to 60 minutes at the gym. They cook their own breakfast, eat a very healthy, hearty breakfast and all that stuff. They go like just doing some charity work or something else like that. They get lunch, then they come home for all their hobbies and they do like 5 hours worth or something else like that. But really, I think it was in reality for my sake anyways, or my case anyways, that I just don't have that much self-discipline. Like, I do have some self-discipline when it comes to managing my own life. I go to the gym on an almost daily basis. I cook my own breakfast in the morning instead of constantly going to the gas station for a egg sandwich and banana and other stuff like that for a healthy after gym breakfast or something like that. I am regimented at least in that sort of way. But that is also like with the fact that I have a bit of a work schedule, and a work schedule that is not determined by me but is determined by other people. And this is sort of where that capitalism comes into play. Because of the capitalist, or at least quasi-capitalist society that I live in, of where that I work for somebody who has a schedule assigned out for me, and I have to work around that schedule. And I just be working throughout the day and be thinking about all these different ideas. I'd also be listening to whatever podcast and music while I'm doing my work at the same time. But at the same time, I'd also be thinking all these different ideas for my comic project. And just ultimately, I think that work, me constantly working for a boss, working for a company, and other stuff like that, that like gives me some kind of subconscious higher amount of appreciation for whatever free time I have. So therefore, it just subconsciously motivates me more to keep on drawing, to keep on writing for my comic project. I have been progressing more now on my comic project within those 15 and 30-minute breaks throughout my workday than I ever was during that time earlier, just a little bit earlier in my most recent life, of where that I had absolutely no work to do, of where that I wasn't told and regimented on some kind of work schedule assigned to me by someone else. Now, obviously, I am me and I am one person, and so not everybody is going to be like me and my mentality as far as this goes, but I thought I would just share my own personal anecdote in relation to this, of how that I think I am skeptical of the way that ANCOMs theorize that their utopian automated ANCOM society would work. I think that if you was to just subvert the entirety of society and make it so that nobody works, so that nobody is regimented by anybody, in a voluntary fashion too. Like, I don't want it to be involuntary, obviously. I don't want slavery or anything like that. I'm not advising that anybody gets forced to anything. I just think that to subvert our society, to completely take capitalism out of the picture, to where that, in this kind of way, to where that nobody has to work for anyone else at all, nobody is regimented by somebody else, it's just going to make them appreciate their time less. Like, inflation is not just a thing that affects currency when you have too much of it, that affects money when you have too much of it. If you have too much time, you will also learn to appreciate it less, to value it less. I think that I really don't think that I'm the only one in this regard. There's likely millions, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of other people out there that if they were just given more time, they will learn to appreciate it less, and so they'll do less with it. But if they are regimented more by other people via a job, in this case, in a typical like capitalist sort of fashion, that they will learn to appreciate that time more, and they will do more with their time than otherwise if they had all the time in the world. But like I said, this is just my own personal story, my own personal anecdote to sort of contribute to this subject matter, this bit of philosophical point of capitalism versus communism. Tell me what you all think in the comment section down below. Do you think that I'm like being off base here? Is there anyone else who kind of feels the same way as well? Is there anybody else out there who's experienced the same thing as I have, where you were given too much time and it's just demotivated you from doing anything that you normally would do if you were like put in a 9 to 5 job or something else like that? And also tell me what you think of my art right here, of the concept art that I am showing up right here. Not only did I take the time here to sort of give my thoughts and my own personal anecdote in regards of this subject matter, but I also made this video on my main channel too, so as to get a little bit more promotion for the fact that I have been working on a comic project for the last few years, and I'm hoping to get it published out there. Like YouTube channel, I don't think is going to be my side dream job or anything like that. I don't really care to get upwards to hundreds of thousands of subscribers and be talking about the news on a rather daily basis. I'm hoping more to make, write, and draw stories. But anyway, thank you all for watching this video, to listening to this video, and I am Zach the Dark Conservatarian. I'll see you all later. Have a blessed day. God bless.